What's up, guys? So welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we're gonna go over the passengers and crew from Flight 93. So once again, in this video, we're gonna go over the passengers and crew from Flight 93 on September 11th, 2001. So it says here, learn more about the 40 passengers and crew members of Flight 93 whose brave actions ended the 9/11 terror attacks on September 11th, 2001. Click on the images to read their biographies. Source: National Park Service. Christian Adams. Sorry if I botched this name. Bischofsheim, Rheinland, Pfalz, Germany. Age 37. Occupation: he was a deputy director. He was a deputy director at German Wine Institute. On September 11th, Christian Adams was en route to San Francisco to promote German wines at an annual trade show, holding degrees in the cultivation of grapes, winemaking, and marketing from universities in Germany and the University of California. Adams was a highly regarded figure in the wine industry. A colleague recalls Adams's thoughtful manner and wonderful sense of humor. He was survived by his wife and two children. Lorraine G. Bay, East Windsor, New Jersey. She was only 58 years old. Occupation: flight attendant, United Airlines. With 37 years of service, Lorraine G. Bay was one of United Airlines' most senior flight attendants. She took pride in her work, enjoyed connecting with passengers of all ages, and preferred working coach over first class. She mentored younger flight attendants and never failed to remember coworkers and family with special cards and unique gifts. Her husband of 22 years remembers her as a loving person with a beautiful smile. Todd M. Beamer, Cranberry, New Jersey. He's only 32 years old. His occupation: he was an accountant manager at Oracle Corporation. Todd M. Beamer, a graduate of Wheaton College with an MBA from DePaul University, was a successful business executive committed to his family and faith. He was a competitive athlete, an avid fan of Chicago sports teams. Beamer and his wife had just returned from a business reward trip to Italy. Though he worked long hours, he always found time for his two young sons. The couple was expecting their third child in January. Alan Anthony Bevan, from Oakland, California. He's only 48 years old. Occupation: attorney with firm of Berman, Davaro, Pease, Tobacco, Burton, Baculo, I can't even pronounce that word right. But anyway, Alan Anthony Bevan practiced law in his native New Zealand and in England, New York, and in California. He loved the ocean and found his niche in environmental litigation, prosecuting violators of the Clean Water Act. After completing a final case, Bevan, his wife, and their young daughter were leaving for a year in India, where he planned to help solve pollution problems. Bevan was also survived by two sons. Mark Bingham, San Francisco, California. He was only 31 years old. He was the owner of the Bingham Group. Mark Bingham was an adventure-loving public relations executive who traveled frequently for pleasure and for his business. The former rugby champion at the University of California at Berkeley was a valued member of the San Francisco's Fog, a gay rugby football club. On September 11th, he was returning to San Francisco to be an usher in a friend's wedding. Bingham was survived by his mother, father, and stepmother. Diora Deora Frances Botley, San Diego, California. She was only 20 years old. Occupation, student, Santa Clara University, Santa Clara, California. University student Deora Frances Botley was the youngest person aboard Flight 93. She loved children and was studying French and psychology. Aspiring to become a child psychologist, Botley remembered as introspective and independent, volunteered with a local animal shelter, and tutored children in an after-school program. On September 11th, she was flying home from a visit with friends in New Jersey. Botley was survived by her mother, father, stepmother, and a sister. Sandy Wow Bradshaw from Greensboro, North Carolina. Sorry, let me read that again. Sandy Wow Bradshaw from Greensboro, North Carolina. She was only 38 years old. She was a flight attendant for United Airlines. Sandy Wow Bradshaw always wanted to be a flight attendant, the perfect career for someone who loved to travel and meeting people. After 11 years of flying, she was taking only 2 trips per month, allowing more time at home with her 2 toddlers and teenage stepdaughter. Her family says she was strong-willed, meticulous, and organized, with a plan for everything. The first day I met her, I fell in love with her, her husband says. Marianne R. Britton from Brooklyn, New York. She was only 53 years old. She was an assistant regional director, New York Region, U.S. Census Bureau. Marianne R. Britton was traveling with coworker Walsika Martinez to a conference in San Francisco. In her 21 years with the U.S. Census Bureau, she had risen from the bottom to the top, developing a reputation for generosity, frankness, and dedication to her job. In 1993, Britton received the Bureau's highest award, the Bronze Medal. She loved to tell stories and held the family genealogy in her memory. Britton was survived by her siblings. Thomas E. Burnett Jr. from Bloomington, Minnesota. He was only 38 years old. He was a senior vice president and chief operating officer at Thoracic Corporation. Thomas E. Burnett Jr. traveled frequently in his position with Thoracic, a manufacturer of heart pumps. On September 11th, Burnett was returning home to his wife and 3 daughters in San Ramon, California. The graduate of the University of Minnesota with an MBA from Pepperdine University considered himself a Renaissance man. He enjoyed hunting, fishing, and golfing, fine wine, cigars, and travel. Burnett is remembered as bright, driven, principled, and competitive. William Joseph Cashman from West New York, New Jersey. He was only 60 years old. He was an ironworker and a member of Metallic Lathers and Ironworkers Union, Local 46. William Joseph Cashman was an ironworker who helped build the World Trade Center, a student of karate, an avid hiker, and a former paratrooper in the U.S. Army. At night, he taught welding to Union apprentices. On September 11th, he was traveling with Patrick Joseph Driscoll to hike in Yosemite National Park. He was survived by his wife of 31 years, who describes Billy as soft-spoken, principled, and strong. Georgine Rose Corrigan from Honolulu, Hawaii. She was only 55 years old. She was an antiques and collectibles dealer. On September 11th, Georgine Rose Corrigan was returning to Hawaii from an antiques buying trip and a visit with her brother in New Jersey. The gregarious, optimistic Ohio native had lived in Hawaii since 1976, supporting herself and her daughter with a variety of jobs, many relying on her artistic talent. Family and friends remember her as a doting grandmother with a passion for anything roses, as you all can see in this picture right here of her. Patricia Cushing from Bayonne, New Jersey. She was only 69 years old. Retired service representative, New Jersey Bell Telephone. Patricia Cushing and her friend sister-in-law, Jane Folger, boarded Flight 93 for a San Francisco sightseeing vacation, a trip they had been planning for months. Cushing, a widowed mother of 5, retired after 20 years as a service representative, freeing her to travel, including frequent excursions into New York City for cultural events and shopping. Her family describes her as a classy lady with a strong faith and a patient, soothing manner. Jason M. Dahl, Littleton, Colorado, 43, Captain, United Airlines. Piloting jets was the realization of a lifelong dream for Jason M. Dahl. The California native earned his private pilot's license at age 16. He graduated from San Jose State University with a degree in aeronautics operations. After 16 years with United Airlines, Dahl was a standards captain, training and evaluating pilots, a job which provided more time at home with his wife and his son from a previous marriage. Joseph DeLuca, from Susquehanna, New Jersey. Age, he's only 52 years old. Occupation, he was a business system specialist, Pfizer Consumer Healthcare. Joseph DeLuca is remembered for his sense of humor and concern for others. He created a cartoon featuring a sports car racing feline. He was devoted to racing and restoring his Morgan Roadster. A graduate of Jersey City State College, DeLuca worked as a computer software designer for 23 years. DeLuca boarded Flight 93 with his girlfriend Linda Groundland to travel to California's wine country. He was survived by his parents and sister. Patrick Joseph Driscoll, from Manalapan, New Jersey. He's only 70 years old. Retired Executive Director of Software Development, Bell Communications. Patrick Joseph Driscoll, the son of Irish immigrants, served in the U.S. Navy during the Korean War. With degrees from New York University and Rutgers, Driscoll built a successful career in the emerging computer field. He and his wife were married for 42 years and raised 4 children. In retirement, he devoted himself to his church and community. On September 11th, Driscoll and William Cashman were traveling to Yosemite National Park to go hiking. Edward Porter Felt, from Matawan, New Jersey. He was only 41 years old. Computer engineer and technology director from BEA Systems. Edward Porter Felt held degrees from Colgate and Cornell universities and was known as a problem solver and one of the BEA's most accomplished engineers. Felt held 2 patents in the field of encryption technology. He enjoyed the outdoors and kept fit by swimming, laps, and running. He was devoted to his wife and 2 daughters. On September 11th, he was en route to San Francisco on a last-minute business trip. Jane C. Folger, from Bayonne, New Jersey. She was only 73 years old. She was a retired bank officer at Commercial Trust. Jane C. Folger was traveling with her sister-in-law and friend, Patricia Cushing, on a long-anticipated sightseeing trip to San Francisco. Strong and resilient, Folger raised 6 children, then lost a son in the Vietnam War and another son to AIDS. Jane knew and loved New York City, and since retiring, she traveled there weekly, introducing her 6 grandchildren to her favorite stores, theaters, museums, and cultural events. Colleen L. Frazier, from Elizabeth, New Jersey. She was only 51 years old. She was executive director at Progressive Center for Independent Living. Colleen L. Frazier was a passionate and tireless advocate for people with disabilities and vice chair of the New Jersey Developmental Disabilities Council. Frazier, who's had a degree from Rutgers University, helped to draft the Americans with Disability Act. She relied on a cane and mobility scooter and is remembered for her flair, her determination, and for inspiring others. She was survived by her siblings. Andrew Sonia Garcia from Portola Valley, California. He was only 62 years old. Owner and president of Cinco Group Incorporated. On September 11th, Andrew Sony Garcia was returning home from a business meeting. Garcia and his wife owned an industrial products company. He had a loving relationship with his 3 children and is remembered for his deep faith and sense of humor. As a young man, he was fascinated in aviation, earned a degree from San Jose State University, and trained as an air traffic controller with the California Air National Guard. Jeremy Logan Glick from Hewitt, New Jersey. He was only 31 years old. He was a sales manager at Vividence Incorporated. On September 11th, Jeremy Logan Glick reluctantly left home on a business trip. He cherished every moment at home with his high school sweetheart, now wife, and their 3-month-old daughter. Glick was a talented athlete with a black belt and the title of U.S. National Collegiate Judo Champion. He earned a degree from the University of Rochester that led to a management position, a California-based web research company. Kristen Osterholm White Gold from New York City, New York. She was only 65 years old. She was a freelance journalist. Christine Osterholm White Gold was a published author and a freelance journalist for more than 30 years, primarily writing about medicine and science. A graduate of Cornell University, Gold was an intellectual with an interest in literature and drama. She traveled the world and was fluent in several languages, including Latin and ancient Greek. Gold boarded Flight 93 to visit friends in California. She was survived by her daughter. Lauren Kazuchi Granicolas from San Rafael, California. She was only 38 years old. She was a consultant and writer. On September 11th, Lauren Kazuchi Granicolas was flying home from her grandmother's funeral in New Jersey. Raised in Houston, the University of Texas graduate had 15 years of marketing and sales experience, and recently left her work as a consultant at Good Housekeeping magazine in order to write a book intended to inspire women to follow their dreams. She and her husband were expecting their first child. Donald Freeman Green from Greenwich, Connecticut. He is only 52 years old. He was an executive vice president and chief financial officer, Safe Flight Instrument Corporation. Donald Green was headed to Lake Tahoe to join his brothers on a hiking and biking trip. An experienced pilot who was licensed at age 14, Green worked with his adopted father in a company that manufactured safety products for aircraft. Green held an engineering degree from Brown University and an MBA from Pace University. He loved flying, sailing, and spending time with his wife and 2 children. Wanda Anita Green from Oakland, California, and Linden, New Jersey. She was only 49 years old. She was a flight attendant with United Airlines. Wanda Anita Green was a United Airlines flight attendant for 29 years. Fulfilling her dream of seeing the world, according to her mother, Wanda was one of the United Airlines, United's first African American flight attendants. That's awesome. That's awesome. She was one of the first. That's really cool. Green was a dedicated mother of 2, a church deacon, and an active in her community. She held a degree from Rockland Community College and earned a real estate license and hoped to open her own real estate office when she retired from flying. Unfortunately, that never got to happen. Linda Gronland from Greenwood Lake, New York. She was only 46 years old. Occupation, she was a manager of environmental compliance at BMW North America. Linda Gronlund was an attorney, engineer, and a skilled automobile mechanic with a passion for sports car racing. She did her undergraduate work at Southampton College of Long Island University and received her law degree from American University in Washington, D.C. on October 11th. Gronlund was traveling with her boyfriend, Joseph DeLuca, to celebrate her birthday in California's wine country. She was survived by her parents and a sister. Richard J. Guadango from Eureka, California, and Trenton, New Jersey. Excuse me. He was only 38 years old. He was a project manager at U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. Richard J. Guadango dedicated his life to protecting wildlife and the environment. A biology degree from Rutgers University prepared for a 17-year career with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. He was a federally trained law enforcement officer. Guadango's final assignment was at Humboldt Bay National Wildlife Refuge in Northern California. Guadango was returning home from visiting his parents, sister, and extended family, and the celebration of his grandmother's 100th birthday. Leroy Homer from Marlton, New Jersey. He was only 36 years old. He was first officer with United Airlines. First officer Leroy Homer grew up on Long Island, New York, with the love of planes, earning his private pilot license at age 16. After graduating from the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1987, Homer served in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and later flew humanitarian missions to Somalia. His career with United Airlines began in 1995. Homer was survived by his wife and a daughter born in 2000. Toshiya Kuj, Osaka, Japan. He was only 20 years old. He was a student at Waseda University, Tokyo, Japan. Toshiya Kuj was determined to become proficient in English and earn a master's degree in engineering from an American university. On his 2-week vacation at his second trip to America, the independent and outgoing college student went whitewater rafting in Canada and visited Niagara Falls and the Statue of Liberty. Flight 93 was the first leg of Kuj's journey home. He was survived by his parents and a brother. Cece Ross Lyles from Fort Pierce, Florida. She was only 33 years old. She was a flight attendant with United Airlines. After 6 years as a police officer and detective in Fort Pierce, Cece Ross Lyles embarked on a new career as a flight attendant. Completing her training in January of 2001, the business mother of 2 sons and 2 stepsons enjoyed the travel opportunities of her new job and relished the time at home between flights. Her husband says Lyles was a tough, smart, caring woman with a strong faith. Hilda Marson from Mount Olive, New Jersey. She was only 79 years old. Retired teacher's aide. The oldest passenger on Flight 93, Hilda was traveling to spend the winter with her daughter in California. Marson grew up in Irvington, New Jersey, married and had 2 daughters. She worked for 20 years as a fund manager for a union, and then began a new career as an instructional aide for special needs children. The retired energetic grandmother, widowed in 1979, loved to cook and is remembered as strong and independent. Waliska Martinez from Jersey City, New Jersey. She was only 37 years old. She was an automation specialist, New York region, U.S. Census Bureau. After graduating from the University of Puerto Rico, Waleska Martinez moved to New Jersey to advance her career. Colleagues at the U.S. Census Bureau, where she worked for 13 years, remember her as organized, innovative, and always smiling. On September 11th, she was traveling to a conference with coworker Marion Britton. Martinez played tennis and softball and enjoyed concerts and dancing. She was survived by her parents and siblings. And look at that beautiful smile right there. Nicole Carol Miller from San Jose, California. She was only 21 years old. She was a student at West Valley College, Saratoga, California. Family members of Nicole Carol Miller remember her as balanced energy, a Dean's List student. She held a part-time job, waitress job, taught fitness classes, and worked out daily. Though college classes had resumed, Miller had made a last-minute decision to fly to the East Coast with a friend. The couple toured Manhattan landmarks in New Jersey beaches before boarding the separate flights to return home on September 11th. She was survived by her parents, step-parents, and siblings. Louis J. Knack the second. New Hope, Pennsylvania. He was only 42 years old. Director of Distribution Center, KB Toys. Travel was not a routine part of the job for Louis Knack II. The one-day last-minute business trip on September 11th took him away from his new wife and their home under construction in New Hope, Pennsylvania. Knack, known as Joey to his family, was a weightlifter with a Superman tattoo who enjoyed fast cars, good wine, and loved his teenage sons from a previous marriage. Donald Arthur Peterson from Spring Lake, New Jersey. He's only 66 years old. He's retired president of the Continental Electric Company. On September 11th, Donald Arthur Peterson was traveling with his wife, Jean, to Yosemite National Park. Pearson, a New Jersey native with an electrical engineering degree from Massachusetts Institute of Technology and an MBA from Rutgers University, retired as the president of Continental Electric Company in New Jersey. A volunteerism driven by his deep faith filled Peterson's retirement years. When he married Jean in 1984, each had 3 children from a previous marriage. Jean Hoadley Peterson, Spring Lake, New Jersey. She was only 55 years old. Occupation, she was a retired registered nurse. On September 11th, Jean Hoadley Peterson was traveling with her husband, Dawn, to Yosemite National Park with a nursing degree from the University of Rochester and a master's degree from Columbia University. Jean was well suited for her retirement volunteer work as a crisis pregnancy counselor. Pearson was motivated by her faith when she married Dawn in 1984. Each had 3 children from her previous marriage. Jean welcomed her first grandchild in 2001. Mark David Rothenberg from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. He was only 52 years old. He was the owner of MDR Global Resources. Mark David Rothenberg was an intense, successful businessman accustomed to frequent flights to Asia for his importing business. Mark, or Mickey as he was known to friends and family, graduated from Franklin and Marshall College, then worked for many years in the family glassware business, becoming the top salesman and eventual owner. Though he worked long hours and traveled extensively, Rothenberg was devoted to his wife and 2 daughters. Christine Ann Snyder. From Kailua, Hawaii. She was only 32 years old. She was a Boris and project manager at the Outdoor Circle. Hawaii native Christine Ann Snyder was passionate about her work with the Outdoor Circle, Hawaii's oldest nonprofit environmental group. As an arborist, Snyder worked to protect trees and landscapes from developments. On September 11th, the University of Hawaii graduate was returning from a forestry conference in Washington, D.C., and an impromptu first visit to New York City. Snyder was anxious to return to Hawaii and her husband of just 3 months. John Telegani from Staten Island, New York. He was only 74 years old. He is a retired bartender. John Telegani, a family man dedicated to his late wife and her 3 sons, was born in Italy and grew up in Brooklyn. The World War II veteran owned a taxi, a pizzeria, and retired as a Manhattan bartender after 20 years. Telegani enjoyed his time with family and was a devoted New York Mets fan. Tragically, Telegani was traveling to California because his stepson had just died there in an automobile accident. And yes, this is her real name. Honor Elizabeth Wano from Baltimore, Maryland. She was only 27 years old. She was a district manager at Discovery Channel stores. Just home from Europe, Honor Elizabeth Wano was traveling on business on September 11th. Wano, a graduate of Towson University, was not only bright and enthusiastic, but driven, leading to advancement with Discovery Channel's stores. Liz, as her friends knew her, recently relocated to New Jersey for her career, but remained connected with her family and friends in her beloved Baltimore. Wano was survived by her parents, step-parents, a brother, and a sister. Deborah Jacobs Welsh from New York City, New York. She was only 49 years old. Flight attendant with United Airlines. As the purser on Flight 93, Deborah Jacobs Welsh was assigned to first class. With more than 25 years of experience with 3 airlines, she was well qualified for the role. Welsh grew up in Philadelphia, loved to travel, and embraced the cultures of the exotic places she visited. She was compassionate and caring, and often delivered leftover airline meals to homeless people in the Manhattan neighborhood where she and her husband lived. Let's never, ever, ever forget all these people. All these beautiful souls. So real quick here, before we end this video, we're going to read the names one more time. We're not going to read about them one more time. We're going to read their names and their ages. One more time. And then say, let's never forget. Christian Adams, 37, from Germany. Lorraine G. Bay, 58, New Jersey. Todd Beamer, from New Jersey, only 32 years old. Alan Anthony Bevan, 48, California. Mark Bingham, 31, California. Diora Frances Bodley, California, 20. Sandy Weil Bradshaw, North Carolina, 38 years old. Marion R. Britton, New York, 53 years old. Thomas E. Burnett Jr., 38, Minnesota. William Joseph Cashman, New Jersey, 60. Georgine Rose Corrigan, Hawaii, 55 years old. Patricia Cushing, New Jersey, 69 years old. Jason M. Dahl, Colorado, 43 years old. Joseph DeLuca, New Jersey, 52 years old. Patrick Joseph Driscoll, New Jersey, 70 years old. Edward Porter Felt, New Jersey, 41 years old. Jane C. Folger, New Jersey, 73 years old. Colleen L. Frazier, New Jersey, 51 years old. Andrew Sony Garcia, California, 62 years old. Jeremy Logan Glick, New Jersey, 31 years old. Kristen Osterholm White Gold, New York, 65 years old. Lauren Katsusi Grand Colas, California, 38 years old. Donald Freeman Green, Connecticut, 52 years old. Wanda Anita Green, California and New Jersey, 49 years old. Linda Gronland, New York, 46 years old. Richard J. Guadagno. Sorry if I keep on mispronouncing some of these names. I do apologize for that. From Wairika, California, and Trenton, New Jersey, 38 years old. Leroy Homer, New Jersey, 36 years old. Toshiya Kuj, Osaka, Japan, 20 years old. CC Ross Lyles, Florida, 33 years old. Hilda Marson, New Jersey, 79 years old. Waleska Martinez, New Jersey, 37 years old. Nicole Carol Miller, California, 21 years old. Louis J. Knack II, Pennsylvania, 42 years old. Donald Arthur Peterson, New Jersey, 66 years old. Jean Holy Peterson, New Jersey, 55 years old. Mark David Rothenberg, New Jersey, 52 years old. Christine Ann Snyder, Hawaii, 32 years old. John Telegani, New York, 74 years old. Honor Elizabeth Wino, Maryland, 27 years old. And Deborah Jacobs Walsh, New York, 49 years old. Again, let's never, ever forget all these beautiful faces, all 40 of these beautiful, beautiful souls that we lost in that fateful day. And all these beautiful souls are true, true, true American patriots. Because of what they did, knowing that they would die doing what they did is true bravery. Thank you to all 40 of you for doing what you did on September 11th, 2001. Let's never forget. Thank you.